December 8, 2024, the world watched in astonishment. After decades of iron-fisted rule, the Assad dynasty crumbled. President Bashar al-Assad, once seemingly invincible, was ousted from power. The Syrian people, long yearning for change, found themselves standing at the precipice of a new era. This was a moment many thought impossible. The Syrian political landscape, dominated for so long by one family, was irrevocably altered. The swiftness of the regime's collapse shocked many. What began as whispers of dissent quickly escalated into a full-blown revolution. Years of simmering discontent over corruption, inequality, and brutal repression finally boiled over. The world held its breath as the once unthinkable became reality. Assad's reign was over. This was not a bloodless coup. The streets of Damascus, Aleppo, and other major cities became battlegrounds. The cost of freedom, as it so often does, came at a heavy price. The world watched, a mixture of hope and trepidation, as a new chapter began in Syria's turbulent history. The international community, often divided on how to deal with the Syrian crisis, was caught off guard. The speed of Assad's downfall left many scrambling to formulate a response. The future of Syria, once seemingly preordained, was now a blank slate, full of both promise and peril. From the ashes of the Assad regime, a new power emerged, Hay'at Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS. This group, born out of the chaos and destruction, quickly became a formidable force in the region. Their rise was not just a shift in power, but a significant turning point in Syria's tumultuous history. Led by the enigmatic Ahmed al-Sharaa, HTS wasted no time in consolidating its grip on the country. Al-Sharaa, with his charismatic leadership and strategic acumen, became the face of this new movement. His speeches resonated with many Syrians who were desperate for change and stability. Their ascent to power was swift and decisive, a testament to their organization and the deep-seated yearning for change among many Syrians. The celebrations that followed their victories were marked by a mix of hope and apprehension, as people wondered what the future would hold under HTS rule. HTS, however, was not without its critics. Many Syrians took to the streets to voice their concerns, fearing that one form of authoritarianism might simply replace another. Graffiti and public debates became common as citizens grappled with the implications of HTS's rise. Their past links to al-Qaeda raised alarm bells in Western capitals. Governments around the world watched closely, issuing statements of concern and caution. The international community was wary, unsure if HTS could truly distance itself from its controversial past. Concerns about their ideology, their commitment to human rights, and their intentions toward Syria's diverse ethnic and religious groups abounded. Human rights organizations and minority groups voiced their fears, worried about potential repression and discrimination under HTS rule. The world watched with a wary eye, unsure of what this new Syria would look like. News outlets provided constant updates, and political analysts debated the potential outcomes. The uncertainty was palpable, both within Syria and beyond its borders. Despite these concerns, HTS surprised many by adopting a pragmatic approach to governance. They recognized the importance of stability and sought to integrate existing bureaucrats into their administration. This move was seen as an attempt to ensure continuity and efficiency in governance. They integrated existing bureaucrats into their administration, recognizing the need for experienced hands to manage the complexities of running a country. This strategy was not just about governance, but also about winning the trust of the people who had grown weary of constant upheaval. This move, while pragmatic, was also calculated. HTS aimed to project an image of stability and competence, hoping to gain both domestic and international legitimacy. Their strategic planning meetings were focused on long-term goals and immediate needs. By bringing in those who had served under Assad, HTS aimed to ensure the continued functioning of the state and to project an image of stability. This collaboration was crucial for maintaining essential services and rebuilding the war-torn infrastructure. Whether this pragmatic approach would extend to their political ideology remained to be seen. The public was eager to understand HTS's long-term vision for Syria. Political rallies and debates became platforms for discussing the future direction of the country. Would they govern with an iron fist, replicating the authoritarianism of the Assad regime? The presence of military drills and a strong police force suggested a potential for strict control. Many feared that the cycle of oppression might continue under a new guise. Or would they embrace democratic principles and work to build a more inclusive Syria? There were glimpses of hope as HTS held public forums and discussions about potential elections. The possibility of a democratic transition was a topic of much debate and speculation. Only time would tell what the future held for Syria under HTS's rule. The nation stood at a crossroads, with the potential for both great change and great uncertainty. The world watched, waiting to see how this new chapter in Syria's history would unfold. The fall of the Assad regime, while welcomed by many, did little to alleviate the dire economic situation in Syria. Years of conflict had ravaged the country's infrastructure, crippled its industries, and displaced millions of its people. The Syrian economy, once a beacon of the region, lay in ruins. The Syrian pound, once a symbol of stability, went into freefall. Its value plummeted, decimating the savings of ordinary Syrians and fueling a sense of panic and despair. Hyperinflation set in, sending the prices of essential goods soaring out of reach for many. The specter of famine loomed as food insecurity became widespread. Syria's foreign currency reserves, depleted by years of sanctions and economic mismanagement, were practically non-existent. The country's gold reserves, estimated at a meager 26 tons, were woefully inadequate to address the monumental task of reconstruction. The international community, while expressing sympathy, was hesitant to provide financial assistance without clear guarantees of stability and reform. The economic crisis threatened to derail any hope of a peaceful transition. The Syrian people, having endured years of war and oppression, now faced a new enemy economic collapse. The task ahead was Herculean, to rebuild not just a country, but an entire economy from the ground up. Risking further isolation and suffering for the Syrian people. Section 5. Iran's Syrian gamble, billions lost in the rubble. The overthrow of Bashar al-Assad sent shockwaves through Tehran. Iran, Assad's staunchest regional ally, had invested heavily in propping up his regime for years. Estimates of Iranian financial support to Syria ranged as high as $50 billion, a staggering sum that underscored the strategic importance Tehran placed on its Syrian alliance. the fall of Assad represented a significant setback for Iranian influence in the region. It also sparked outrage within Iran itself, as news of the lost investments filtered back to a population already reeling from economic hardship. Questions were raised about the wisdom of funneling such vast sums of money to a foreign regime, while ordinary Iranians struggled to make ends meet. The loss of Syria as a key ally forced Iran to reassess its regional strategy. With its influence waning in Iraq, Lebanon, and Yemen, Tehran found itself increasingly isolated. The Syrian debacle served as a stark reminder of the limits of Iranian power and the precarious nature of its regional ambitions. The Iranian people, meanwhile, were left to grapple with the economic fallout of their government's foreign policy miscalculations. The Syrian adventure, once touted as a strategic masterstroke, had become a costly misadventure, a testament to the perils of unchecked ambition on the global stage. Section 6. A Call to Return. Rebuilding Syria from Within. Amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a message of hope emerged from the heart of the new Syria. This message was not just a call to action but a beacon of resilience and determination, symbolizing the undying spirit of the Syrian people. Mohammed al-Bashir, the newly appointed prime minister, issued a heartfelt plea to the millions of Syrian refugees scattered across the globe. Come home and help rebuild our shattered nation. His words were filled with a deep sense of urgency and a genuine desire to see his country rise from the ashes. Al-Bashir's message resonated with many Syrians longing to return to their homeland. For many, it was a chance to reconnect with their roots, to walk the streets they once knew, and to rebuild the communities they once cherished. He spoke of a new Syria, free from the tyranny of the past and committed to building a more just and equitable society. His vision was one of unity and inclusivity, where every Syrian, regardless of their background, had a role to play in the nation's future. He promised religious freedom, economic opportunity, and a chance to heal the wounds of war. These promises were not just political rhetoric, but a genuine commitment to creating a better future for all Syrians. The call to return was not without its challenges. The memories of war and displacement were still fresh, and the path to rebuilding was fraught with obstacles. Many refugees remained skeptical, scarred by the horrors they had witnessed and uncertain about the future. The fear of the unknown and the trauma of the past made the decision to return a difficult one. The task of rebuilding Syria was daunting, and the scars of conflict ran deep. The infrastructure was in ruins, and the social fabric of the nation had been torn apart. The international community, while expressing support, was slow to commit the resources needed to facilitate a large-scale return. The promises of aid and assistance often fell short of the actual needs on the ground. Despite these obstacles, al-Bashir's message offered a glimmer of hope. It was a call to action, a plea for unity, and a promise of a brighter future. The return of skilled professionals and a vibrant diaspora could provide a much-needed boost to Syria's reconstruction efforts. Their expertise and experience were invaluable assets in the nation's journey towards recovery. The international community, by supporting these efforts, could play a vital role in shaping a more peaceful and prosperous future for Syria. Their involvement was crucial in ensuring that the promises made were kept and that the path to recovery was sustainable. The question was, would they rise to the challenge? The future of Syria depended not just on the will of its people, but also on the support and commitment of the global community.